I'm Nadine. If you've never been on my channel before, I am a sex educator and I usually talk about sex education stuff. Today on this vlog, however, I need to talk about something different, which is my new favorite movie of all time, Black Panther. Maybe you've heard of it. I'm also going to do a more formal video and I will give you suggestions for how to use this movie to talk to your kids about, different themes and concepts and ideas that come up in the movie related to things like, relationships and gender, etc. But for today, I just want to gush about how much I love this movie and just, share with you some random thoughts that I have. So I wouldn't say this is a review per se, it's just me talking about the movie because I love it so much. But there will be spoilers, like lots and lots of spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie because it's rad. Random thought number one. I have heard from a lot of people who are really concerned about the fact that Killmonger burned the entire crop of heart-shaped herbs because, yeah, the heart-shaped herb is what gives Black Panther the power of the Black Panther. So does this mean that now that the crop is gone, there aren't going to be any more Black Panthers? I was upset about that the first time I saw the movie, but then the second time I saw the movie, I remembered that in the opening monologue, which is beautiful, by the way, they say that when the vibranium, crashed and landed in Wakanda, that's what changed the vegetation and was the catalyst for the growth of the heart-shaped herb. So I think it's gonna be fine because obviously the heart-shaped herb is native to Wakanda, and it will grow again. Also, fire actually promotes the growth and regeneration of certain plants, so maybe fire will promote more rapid growth of the heart-shaped herb. Anyway, I think it's gonna be okay. There's gonna be more heart-shaped herbs, so it's fine. I'm not worried about that anymore. I want to know your opinion. Do you think that Killmonger, I think his Wakandan name is N'Jadaka. N'Jadaka is his Wakandan name. Do you think that when he died, he was allowed to be reunited with his family in the ancestral plane? I don't know. It seems, based on the movie, that the ancestral plane is where the ancestral kings and queens of Wakanda exist after they've died. And they exist in this sort of, panther/human form. So I know that technically Eric was never the king of Wakanda, even though he assumed the throne. He did not defeat T'Challa in battle, so I guess his kingdom or his time as king was invalid. Also, we saw his father in Jobu on the ancestral plane, and he seemed to be in some sort of purgatory. By the way, I loved the way that scene was shot, and I loved sort of the way they brought that to life visually, that we saw in Jobu in his Oakland apartment, but then just beyond the windows, we could see the same ancestral plane where, T'Chaka and presumably the other Panther ancestors existed, and it was like he was trapped in Oakland and he could see the ancestral plane but somehow couldn't get to it. And we also saw that when Eric went to the ancestral plane, he was in the apartment as well. So I don't know if when he actually died, that means that he went to that purgatory apartment or if he went to the legit full ancestral plane. I personally like to think that he went to the ancestral plane. I mean, yeah, I know he did some shit while he was alive, but also he had every right to, have that sort of rage. T'Chaka, his own uncle, murdered his father and abandoned him in Oakland. So I don't know. I think that T'Chaka kind of owes him big time. And, it would go a long way towards making family amends if T'Chaka was like, hey, Panther ancestors, yeah, I know this was kind of fucked up what he did, but also largely my fault. Shuri, Shuri is everything. Shuri was not only my hands down favorite character in this movie, she is probably one of my top 3 favorite movie characters of all time, okay? There needs to be a Shuri spin-off movie. Shuri needs to have a show on Netflix. There needs to be a series of Shuri-centric novels that I can read. I want to follow Shuri on Snapchat. I want to follow Shuri on Instagram. I want to be in Shuri's Twitter feed, okay? Shuri, Shuri, Shuri. Oh my God, Shuri. Shuri for president. Shuri for Queen of Wakanda. Shuri for everything. A lot of people I know are like, yo, fetch me some smelling salts because I'm about to faint because M'Baku is like so hot. So I am not feeling M'Baku in that way, but I get it. I actually watched an interview with Winston Duke and I was like, okay, M'Baku is not fully doing it for me in that way, but Winston Duke, yeah, okay, now I see it. He's funny and he's articulate and he loves the Golden Girls just like I do. Just like, who are you? You're amazing. I love you. In terms of the character, the first time I saw the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, he's really funny. He's got some of the best lines in the movie. Then the second time I saw it, I was like, wait a minute. There's more depth to this character than I appreciated the first time I saw it. And the thing I love about him is he is this gruff, belligerent dude who's like, I do not give a shit. Like, the rest of Wakanda, you can do your thing. I'm going to challenge you for the throne because I think I can do it better. But then he's like, okay, you defeated me, whatever. I'm going off into the mountains. You do your thing. I'm going to be over here, whatever. So he kind of doesn't give a fuck, but at the same time, always does the right thing. Like, always does the right thing. Like, has just, like, integrity oozing out of him. And I love that. And Lupita Nyong'o is one of the most beautiful women ever. Her character, Nakia, like, she's principled, she's, you know, strong, she's independent, she has her own mind, she's gonna do her own thing, like, she's unbelievably competent, she's unbelievably compassionate, well, not unbelievably, but she's, you know, brimming with compassion, with confidence, she's intelligent, like, yeah, she's just awesome. Like, what else is there to say? More than any character in the movie, Okoye, who was played by Danai Gurira, made me feel proud to be a Black woman. Like, I walked out of that theater with my head held a little higher, specifically because of Okoye, and I'm going to explain why. So this is a character who is uncompromising. She is physically, you know, really strong, really graceful, really adept. You know, she's got really dark skin. She is bald, like, she has no hair on her head. She, I think, yeah, cares about and loves her man, but is not going to allow that love or that relationship to take precedence over her own, you know, internal sense of what's right and what's wrong. And you know, as someone who lives in this society, those are all things that I grew up being told were unattractive and undesirable. And yet here is this character and I'm like, she is so desirable and she is so magnetic. She's beautiful, she's powerful. You know, and it's not only, that's not only my feeling, like virtually everyone I've talked to who has seen this movie is just like, holy crap, Okoye, like, my gosh, like, this woman is resplendent, she's magnificent, she is spectacular, and I'm like, yeah, of course she is. And so, yeah, to see all of that being a Black woman myself, I'm like, yeah, that's right, like, my dark skin is beautiful, that's right, like, my strength that I think, you know, comes from being a Black person in this world is beautiful. That, you know, I'm like, my own sense of, you know, what's right and what's wrong and my own internal moral compass and, you know, my ability to, you know, to use that as my guide through life, that's beautiful. It was like, yes, I want to be like her and I'm proud that, you know, in broad strokes, I'm kind of like her. This is the first time I have ever seen Andy Serkis act in a movie, like, in his own body. I've only seen his CGI performances. I really like Andy Serkis as a full-bodied actor. I thought that he was having so much fun playing Ulysses Claw, and that made him so much fun to watch. So yeah, moving forward, I would love to see him in more stuff because, you know, he's just really, you know, energetic. It's like one of those actors who's like, I love acting, and I love to see that. The movie spends a fair bit of time sort of orienting us to Wakanda. You know, we spend a lot of time in the movie, you know, learning about Wakanda's geography, learning about their history, learning about, you know, their technology, learning about their spiritual practices, learning about, you know, their rituals, their political system, their monarchy. And some people have pointed to this, I think, as a weak spot because, yeah, early on in the movie, there is a point where the movie sort of slows down and we're just like sort of, here's your tour of Wakanda, enjoy yourself. And, you know, if that felt slow for people, you know, that's valid. People, you know, have different experiences of the same movie. For me, though, that was a critical part of the movie, and it was part of the movie I really, really enjoyed. So I think it was critical for a couple of reasons. I think it was really important to, you know, sort of familiarize us with Wakanda as the audience because all of the stakes in the movie, all of the emotional stakes are sort of contingent upon us caring about Wakanda, right? Like when, you know, Eric Killmonger comes in and we find out that he has been, you know, abandoned and separated from this home, this, you know, homeland of Wakanda, we need to understand what a tremendous loss that is for him. And to understand that, we need to understand, you know, what Wakanda is. When, you know, Eric and T'Challa are fighting for the throne and they have very different ideas about, you know, what Wakanda's role in the world is, we need to understand that. And in order to understand that, we need to understand Wakanda. I think in order to see T'Challa as any kind of protagonist, we need to understand Wakanda. We need to understand how special it is. We need to understand, you know, what it has given to its citizens, because otherwise he just seems like a selfish bastard if we're just like, this is just a regular place or whatever, like I don't really feel any particular emotional attachment to this place. And we're like, we don't understand why you feel such a strong attachment to this place and why you've been motivated to protect it at the expense of, you know, other people in the world who need help. And I also think that, yeah, in order to feel any kind of emotional tension in the final act, in order to feel, you know, no, we don't want, you know, Wakanda to become this, you know, warmongering country. We don't want Wakanda just to become this seat of black supremacy in the world as a way of fighting white supremacy. Again, you have to care about Wakanda. So I'm like, yes, I am fine that the movie took a lot of time to, you know, turn Wakanda into a place that felt real and lived in and nuanced and a place that we cared about and loved. Final thoughts. I know this movie has flaws, and I know that, you know, people are gonna go watch it with a critical eye, which is totally okay, like, absolutely. But for me, this is one of those movies where I'm like, I'm just gonna leave, you know, my criticisms to the side because, oh, I cannot tell you how good it feels to be able to watch a movie about Black people and Blackness and a Black experience, and be excited and, you know, be in a theater with other Black people and actually be cheering and happy. You know, not to say that I didn't cry a few times, particularly Killmonger's last line, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from the ship. Wow. But overall, you know, it was just amazing to see a movie about a Black experience that was not mired in tragedy. It was not mired in, you know, abuse and trauma and struggle. It was a celebration of Blackness. You best believe, like, the theater is gonna be getting a lot of my money as long as this movie, you know, is in its theatrical release. And then as soon as it comes out on Blu-ray DVD, I am gonna buy it and I wanna watch it every single day. All right, so in the comment section below, let me know if you have seen the movie, and if you have seen the movie, let me know what you think. You know, who were some of your favorite characters? What were some of the moments that stood out for you? You know, you can even let me know what were maybe some parts of the movie that didn't quite work for you. I would love to have this conversation. I want to talk about this movie all the time. So yeah, comment below and let's talk about it. Wakanda forever! Bye.